Alright guys, we're starting a brand new series, and the world is already on edge. The Illuminati aren't just pulling strings, they're ready to break everything. And Bucky and Black Widow? They're already fighting for their lives. But here's the kicker, the two of them alone can't stop what's coming. A new team has to rise, and trust me, you won't believe who makes the cut. Welcome back to Keepin' It Comic, and today, we're diving into the new Avengers. Now look, this story starts off in New Mexico desert. Bucky's having a convo with someone named Earl, where he stays. I've actually learned a lot from you. Earl is confused. He's like, is that right? Life lessons? And Bucky interjects, no, I've learned that you have trouble taking it easy too, informing the locals who dare resist Dr. Doom's rule. And what do you get for selling out your neighbors? Earl is trying to play it off, and Bucky pulls out a gun. Then Bucky lights a Molotov and sets the gas station on fire. Just as Bucky walks away, someone pulls a gun to his head. He's like, how did you sneak up on me like that? And this mysterious person responds, I know all your weaknesses. Molotov cocktail? A bit obvious for a man called the Revolution. But look at you out here, with no one to watch your back. Bucky says, yeah, I've been working alone. Easier this way. Quiet. No drama. It's your fault, you know. You're the one who left. And then we see them lips and hair that we all know so well. And Natasha says, I know, but some things are more fun together. So we fast forward after their freak session, and Natasha says, actually, James, we need to have a talk about a situation. And Bucky is like, stop. I know that look. You have a mission. Missions need teams. No more teams. She tells Bucky about a lumber camp that's being used as a laboratory in Russia, where more than 200 people have disappeared from the surrounding villages. And Bucky's like, okay, it's a dirty world. Let's fight dirty. So we get to this camp, and Black Widow and Bucky are destroying these soldiers. One says, intruder, East Gate, all units on me. Bucky says, there she is. See that? Right on time. And we see a gun is sliced in half. Black Widow asks, you sure she can handle it? And he responds, of course. She's the best there is at what she does. And we see Laura, aka Wolverine, going crazy, destroying the other troops. Now, as these three release all the people who have been held captive, they start to notice some are mutated, experimented on. And so they do what all heroes do and go inside. And there, they see this big contraption with 7 doors on it. Just then, someone says, hello, hi, welcome. I can see you appreciate great art. And it's none other than the Jackal. Wolverine says, green furry guy looks bad. And Bucky's like, yeah, don't mention him in front of Spider-Man. But just then, the Jackal says, control, open containment units 1 through 7. Thank you. Just then, Bucky pulls out a device and pushes a button while saying, you're not the only one with big guns, Jackal. Just then, a blue light comes crashing into the building, and everyone goes flying. And as a shadowy figure emerges, they say, strike like lightning, you said? But I'm more than flash and thunder. And it's none other than Namor, who says, tell me, Barnes, where shall I direct my fury? And I have to say, that was a badass entrance. Black Widow says, whatever comes out of those doors, it must be destroyed. But Namor and Wolverine are already at it. He's like, the Wolverine. She replies, the King of Kelp. But just then, Wolverine says, what the? Bucky, is this some sick joke? What the hell is Professor Xavier doing here? Wait, Iron Man? And then they get blasted. Just then, we get a view of the weirdest looking Illuminati I think we've ever seen in our lives. I just want to add on a personal note, I kind of like how Strange looks though. But look, they're on the attack. Namor says, this lineup sends a message. But Jackal could not know. In which Bucky replies, you mean the Illuminati, Namor? Steve told me all about your secret club, but these ain't the real deal. Black Widow says, we do not need another group of arrogant egos trying to run the world. don't let them escape. And just as Stephen Strange starts to cast a spell, someone in New York picks up on his energy. At this point, Namor is like Reed Richards, Tony Stark, T'Challa, Xavier, Strange, and the Submariner? Is this troll meant to be me? And he says, I have a name of my own, twin. Call me Imperious Rex. And just like that, something is wrong with Namor as he says, he has my Atlantean telepathy. Just then, Iron Man grabs Wolverine and brings her in the air. But Wolverine isn't making this easy as she's stabbing him. Then, Iron Man is like, I've had enough. And he blasts her arm off. Namor isn't having it, and he grabs the Jackal by his neck and says, defiling royal blood, perverting Atlantean life. I'll mutilate you beyond recognition. The Jackal laughs it off and says, oh, Submariner, I know you're too noble to actually kill me. I'll just clone you again and again. Bucky screams, Namor, stop. He's the only one that can answer. Namor responds, silence, Barnes, I won't. But before he can finish his sentence, Jackal's body's been obliterated. Black Widow is like, what happened? Where's his body? James, who else is on the Illuminati? And we see this beast of a thing as Bucky yells, Black Bolt! And Black Bolt corrects him. Black Bolt? Blackagar. I don't know why he talks like that, by the way. Then, he lets off a deafening roar that even affects the people who escaped earlier. This destroyed everything, and Bucky makes his way through the rubble and is like, where is everybody? The clone Reed is like, everywhere. Now, Iron Man and Wolverine are both concerned about their comrades, and Iron Man is like, don't leave because we're finishing this. Just then, Black Panther cuts Wolverine at the stomach. It's at this point we find out that Black Panther's real name is Luke Charles. We also find out that his name is not Iron Man, it's Iron Apex. Luke Charles says, don't try to stop me. I won't hold back like last time. What you do with your freedom is up to you. Me? I claim this world as my hunting ground. And just like that, he hops the fence and is gone. At this point, Reed has Bucky all tangled up and says, that's right, just breathe, James. Every exhale, I constrict tighter. No, you can call me Mr. Ouroboros, but I am still quite qualified to discuss a great many topics while you suffocate. Lucky for Bucky, Black Widow is around. And just then, Iron Apex says, Illuminati, pull it together, bros. We're free of the Jackal. No more in and out of the tanks. We just need to pull together an escape plan. As he holds Mr. Ouroboros, he continues, focus on me, bro. If these heroes spill the beans about us, we're cooked. Can you use that Mr. Ouroboros genius to scratch up a weapon to kill them all? And sure enough, he says he can. So Iron Apex tells him to go, and the rest of them will hold off these tools. Now that Namor is back in the fight as well, they are all going at it. And we also find out this Charles is known as Professor Extension, which I think that's a dope name. But our heroes are getting beat, and I mean bad. Namor is being controlled, Bucky is having issues with Strange, and Professor Extension is draining Black Widow of her life force. She screams out, need help. Just then, the professor is hit with a projectile, while someone else says, at your request, gorgeous. And it's none other than the gorgeous Clea Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme of the Dark Dimension. She's like, what kind of ridiculous clown convention have I stumbled into? My husband went on a quest for power. I fear he may be lost, but now I sense, stop. You there. What kind of mockery is this? You're not my husband. Strange says, who, me? Whoa, bad vibe city. I'm just doing me, you know. Never let haters steal your peace. This guy is funny as hell to me for some reason. But Professor's like, Guru Strange, I'm tapped out. I need to feed. And he responds with, sure, Chuck. I know a good place for ramen. There'll be something for you to munch on too. The party's dead anyway. We're better off on our own. Bro is straight thinking with his stomach. And as they make their escape, Blackagar attacks Clea. And I don't know if pissing her off is the right thing to do, because she's like, weeks. I waited for a sign of him. This is your fault. And then she closes a portal around his neck and decapitates him. Bucky's like, wow, you're hired. But they get Iron Apex cornered and Bucky says, whatever you call yourself in there, power down now. And this dude said, under whose authority? The Thunderbolts? The New Warriors? Forceworks? I'd sooner recognize the jurisdiction of the Babysitters Club. Next thing you know, Namor is attacking and flying him outside because he wants to know where his clone Imperious Rex is. And the fact that he's gone is pissing Namor off. Iron Apex grabs Namor by the neck and says, think about it, Namor. He made you bow to him. He is more king than you. And that was all it took as Namor snaps to the depths with you. That's when Apex and his suit start. Arc reactor core in critical meltdown. System shut down. Reboot. Reboot. Crash. Mainframe enter and halt and catch fire. Damn it. And as he plunges into the sea, he says, yo, Reed, can you hear me, bro? Get out of there now. I did my best, but you're out of time. I'm toast. Thanks to Namor. For what it's worth, do what you always do, bro. Hustle harder. Stay one step ahead. Show them the true face of their creations. Make them pay for what we are. Remake the world in our twisted image. Promise me. The rest of the Illuminati uses this chance to escape. Bucky brings up a point. Namor, we should be asking the Tony clone these questions right now. I told you to stand down. And you would think by now they would know Namor because he's like, stand down? As if you command me. You did not face a twisted version of yourself, Barnes. The vile disrespect. You have no idea. The absolute, and Wolverine grabs him and says, don't push him. And he smacks our hand off and says, back off, pretender. But eventually they put all the bickering aside and decide to work together. But Namor has one condition if he's going to work with him. And he says, I too have a rule. We do not involve the Illuminati. The real ones. I am dead serious. They cannot know about this. I shudder to think of these clones inspiring wide-eyed schemes in the soft hearts. If we need knowledge, we must go elsewhere. But Bucky is already thinking the same thing, which brings us to West Virginia to find the rampaging Hulk. Black Widow throws some kind of smoke at him. I'm taking it as it's just smoke as Namor isn't affected, and he delivers a crazy back fist to the Hulk. This gives Widow the opportunity to throw a device on Hulk in which she says, he's paralyzed. On a normal human, the battery lasts an hour. On the Hulk, maybe 2 minutes. Bucky took this chance to make his move. Okay, let's move. Clea, magic us in there. To where exactly? Well, to Hulk space, where Bruce Banner is a prisoner. Bucky's like, we're getting you out of here. Now. Banner tells him, Bucky, I'm trapped here until he decides to let me go. Concentrate on the crisis at hand. Where do I even start? This is a mess. These Illuminati clones you faced in Russia, they shouldn't even be real. These are neurogenic clones. Entirely theoretical. No one's pulled them off before. No way the Jackal did it first. Not without help. Just like the clones, they're copies of DNA, powers, memory, everything. But with neurogenic clones, originals are only a starting point. You can't change who they were at the start, but you enhance or distort who they become. The identities and abilities, and in Tuck, a lifetime of nurture, right out the vat, like a bag of 60-second rice. Listen, this is important. Just then, Banner is interrupted and says, uh-oh, you feel that? He's awake. Bucky tells Banner, wait, Bruce, I didn't come here for a chat. I came to recruit you. Banner replies, Bucky, don't be ridiculous. I can't even join a book club. Focus on this. A broken, brilliant Reed Richards is the scariest thing I can imagine. He will end the world, or galaxy, or multiverse. It is inevitable. I give him 24 hours. Bucky says, right, copy that. But who are we to tackle this alone? Namor made me swear not to involve the real Illuminati. And Banner's not liking this at all, but he says, God, I can't believe this mess has me agreeing with Namor. Correct. Do not go to the Fantastic Four or the Avengers. They cannot be trusted to take these clones out. Involve no one else. And if it's authority you need, here it is. I hereby give you authority to handle this as Avengers. Clea interrupts and is like, excuse me, we are definitely not the Avengers. But the Hulk is up and pissed. Namor is trying to hold him at bay, and Widow's like, damn it, Namor, put him down. Hulk throws Namor at Black Widow and says, I won't join your stupid team. Just then, the call for Plan B, which is Wolverine, who jumps into the fight and says, okay, but we don't want you on our stupid team. And she is slicing and stabbing as Bucky and Clea come back. The mission wasn't a success, but Bucky says, extracting Banner failed. But he gave me an idea, how to find Ugly Reed. We have to go to New Mexico. Clea, get us there. Everyone, we're out. And just as she's getting everyone out of there, she says, hold, I sense him. That clone lampoon of my husband. We're going to him now. Next thing you know, our Avengers are in Japan. And there's bodies all over the place. Alive, but unconscious. And while Bucky is trying to convince Clea that Reed Richards' #1 world-shattering priority, remember? Black Widow, Wolverine, and Namor are bickering. And Wolverine says, why does it smell like ass? Just then, we see a claw. Then, a mouth that we know all too well. Wolverine brings it up again. Is no one listening to me? Something smells seriously like symbiote. And out emerges Carnage right behind Bucky. Carnage says, nobody move. I'll score this skull. Bucky tries to be smooth. Hey now, let's all calm down. It's Carnage, right? We're not here for you. Are you here for us? Clea, on the other hand, is like, this is a waste of time. Then she does an attack that makes Carnage start to separate from its host, Eddie Brock. And this fool says, ooh wee, what a buzz. Damn, woman, are you single? Like, bro, you better leave this woman alone. But Bucky's like, hold on, you're Carnage and not Venom? And Eddie is like, yeah, things change. Weren't you Captain America for a minute? But Eddie lets them know he's not there for them. He's hunting the killer who is leaving all these bodies. And just then, Clea says she is sensing something. And just then, we see Professor Extension stealing a woman's life force. Bucky tried to talk to him and is like, Xavier, listen, but this pisses him off and he says, don't call me by his name. I'm Professor Extension. Away, my haters. Like, bro, you got haters? That's crazy. But then he releases an energy blast, and as Wolverine and Bucky are trying to fight him, one thing is clear. Clea is gone. And I think we all know where she went. She says, you must think you're so clever, Doctor Strange. In which he replies, me? Nope. Never got my PhD. My flock calls me Guru Strange. Have some sashimi. There's no salmon, but the Otaro is killer. And she's pissed once again. She uses her magic to stick him to the wall. And he's like, I'm out of here. And like that, Clea is chasing him and leaving the new Avengers alone. Mind you, in a whole nother country than they asked to be in. At this time, Bucky and Namor are fighting the Professor while Black Widow and Wolverine come up with a plan to stop him. Widow says he should have the power of the most dangerous telepath in the world. Why isn't he making us fight each other? Flooding our minds with pain. He's just sucking up psychic energy and lashing it out with force bolts. Wolverine's like, that's it. Hey, new guy, stop creeping around. When I give the signal, can you go like full hardcore? And Carnage is like, kid, do I look gentle to you? And she says, right. Nat, do you still have any of that Neuro Hulk thing? And she says, what? Why bother paralyzing a telepath? And she says, but his telepathy is no good. Probably, I think. And Nat says, I've only got enough charge for 30 seconds. And she says, don't worry, I'll do what needs to be done. And as Professor Extension throws Namor, she's like, hey, loser, Magneto was right. Just then, Carnage jumps on his back and takes a chunk out of his shoulder. And Black Widow throws the device on his back. And Professor Extension is like, get away from me. And as Wolverine stands over him, she says, did you know? Jean Grey thinks you're ugly. He responds, Laura, my child, stop. Think about what this moment could be. You and me, building a new era for people. We can fix the mistakes of the past together. This time, it will be better. Join me. Help me protect our people. And as she crouches down face to face, she says, I am protecting our people from monsters like you. And as she stands over his lifeless body, everyone's shocked except for Carnage, who's like, damn, this is how you roll? And Bucky approaches to try to help her and is like, Laura, hey, I know that must have been, are you okay? And she has the creepiest smile on her face, talking about, are you kidding? I'm having fun. So as they're all sitting here having a conversation, Eddie's like, so who are you guys anyway? Thunderbolts? Defenders? The Grouches of the galaxy? And Bucky says, actually, we're the bastards who go after worse bastards. We're hunting killers too. And top of the list is a loony Reed Richards. You want in? And Natalie's like, stop. He's a murderer wearing a monster. Eddie says, look, I'm just trying to use this nasty monkey on my back to do some good. And Bucky's like, great, it's decided. She's like, it is not. And he says, Clea, let's head to the safe house in New Mexico. And I've got a device that can, wait, has anyone seen Clea? And as he turns around, Namor's starting to be controlled again. And Bucky says, Namor, what the hell? And Namor says, no, I am royalty, and you are a monster. You shall not command me. Bucky's like, who are you talking to? And just then, Namor hits Bucky and sends him flying. Black Widow says, holy hell, Namor, you could have taken his head off. And Carnage is crouched over like, hey, hit him back. And Wolverine's like, I told you if you touch him again. And Namor says, it's not me, it's my clone. He's controlling me. And we can see somewhere in the shadows, Imperious Rex has returned. And there you have it, the first 3 issues of the new Avengers. And already this story is wild. We've got Bucky and Widow starting the mission, Wolverine tearing through soldiers, Namor making an entrance like a straight up boss, Clea dropping in with some dark dimension vibes, and even Carnage somehow rolling with the squad. And on top of that, the Illuminati, a twisted Illuminati built out of clones who are way more dangerous than the real deal. This team isn't clean, it isn't shiny, it's messy, violent, and reckless. But if you ask me, that's what makes them fire. And now, with Imperious Rex back in the mix, you already know things are gonna get crazier. Out of everyone so far, being Bucky, Black Widow, Wolverine, Namor, Clea, and Carnage, who do you guys think is the real backbone of the new Avengers team? Drop your theories in the comments. I'll be reading them all. And if you've been rocking with these breakdowns, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and if you're new, hit the notification bell. And check out our merch store at keepinitcomic.com. Links in the description. It's the best way to support the channel so we can keep bringing you these videos weekly. And as always, thanks for kicking it with Keepin' It Comic. I'll catch y'all on the next one.